In Columbus tonight, local artists gathered for a gala celebrating the work of black filmmakers, actors, and others in the film industry. The inaugural black carpet celebration was held at the Studio Movie Grill. Organizers say they were inspired to hold their own event after the Academy Awards neglected to nominate a person of color for any category.
We need more inclusion, need more diversity in the film industry as a whole. And we wanted to take it upon ourselves to kind of do our own Oscars.
It's certainly very concerning that there are no Oscar nominations at all this year with regard to people of color, but it's also just as concerning that there are no people of color at the decision-making table.
Tonight's event also included a film showing clips from local artists.
No gun, even no stick look like a club, and you know the law say 20 lashes if you get caught without no traveling pass, 10 lashes.
If you look a white man in the eye, and 30 lashes if you raise your hand to a white Christian, and the law say if they catch you lying, they cut your ears off. I know the law, Fiddler. I know the law too well.
Then you ought to know that there ain't no way to beat the law. White folks live by it, and niggers die by it.
Maybe this time I'll make it to the cowbird plantation. Maybe I will find Fanta. Oh, but it don't matter. Seems like since they take me from my home and bring me to this place, the only time I get to be free is when I run away. I tell you, Fiddler, sometimes it seems like being alone and being free, they're all the same for a slave.
You don't be free. You be dead.
Then I'll be free.
He can hear the bells of the school where he always wanted to go, but never could. And Arabella didn't make it. And it was real sad.
That's a beautiful story, Cindy. Beautiful. Wasn't that a beautiful story, children?
Yes, Mrs. Collins.
Now, that's a book that I've not read. May I borrow it from you, Cindy?
Yes, ma'am.
You see, children, I'm still learning. What is the lesson to be learned from Thomas Hardy's book? What do you think he's trying to tell us in Jude the Obscure?
Well, in that society of England, education was denied people who were from the right class, who didn't have any money.
Right. Now, let's tell our new students, Truman and Francine, why it's so important to learn.
So we can think for ourselves.
Think for yourselves. You see, children, I teach you because I love you. But I never want to teach you my thoughts. Your thoughts must be your own. Of course, Martin will never have any thoughts of his own because he's too busy to think. So when the man comes and offers him 2 tens for a $50 bill, he'll never know whether he has a good deal or not.
I know that. He'd have to give me 5 tens for a 50. I'm no dummy.
Then maybe you know that the good Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so we could listen twice as much as we talk.
I can listen and talk at the same time because eyes as fine as a shining new dime.
That's beautiful, Martin. Beautiful. Now, for tomorrow, I want you to look up the etymology of the word dime. Where and when it was minted, and how much silver went into it. That's your homework for tomorrow. Because I'm going to get more than a shiny new dime's worth of learning out of you. Martin! Oh, I feel so sorry for you, baby. You've probably been kicked all your life. It's probably the only thing you really understand. If that's the only way to get rid of all that anger, then you better kick me. I'm big enough, and I won't kick back. Go on. Get it out of your system. Kick me.
I will, you know.
I know you will, but I won't love you any less. Go on. Kick me, Martin.
Hey, Jared, come here. Yeah.
Hi, Nathan.
And how the Morgan family do while Big Nathan was gone?
Oh, we was just holding on to a string, waiting for you to come and rescue us.
And I'm the best rescuer in the whole parish.
You also is a big bragger, too.
Daddy, why is you laughing?
Why am I laughing?
laughing because... David Lee, tell your sister why I'm laughing.
He's laughing because he don't know what next to say.
Boy, you is getting too smart for your britches. Now, come here.
Get him, Daddy!
Come here. Come here, boy.
Where you get your wind from this time of day? I just don't know. Now, stop playing with the children. Tell me how we made out at the weighing station.
$20.
$20?
That's right. Best month we had in 5 or 6 years. And next month, I'm gonna do even better.
Now that calls for me to cook something real special tonight.
Miss Rebecca,
Yes, Nathan?
you always does things that's special.
Why, thank you, Mr. Nathan.
Me and your daddy. But I thought I taught you something else, too. I thought I taught you to love him.
Love him? There's nothing left to love.
There's always something left to love. Have you cried for that boy today? Now, I don't mean for yourself and for the family because we lost the money. I mean for him and what he's gone through. And God help him. God help him what it's done to him. Child, when do you think is the time to love somebody the most? When he's done good and made things easy for everybody? No. No, that ain't the time at all. It's when he's at his lowest and he can't believe in himself because the world's done whipped him so. When you starts measuring somebody, measure 'em right, child. Measure 'em right. You make sure that you done taken into account the hills and the valleys he's come through to get to wherever he is.
Gillespie. Mr. Endicott. This here is Virgil. Mr. Tibbs.
How do you do, sir?
Oh, may I have Henry fetch you something? Some light refreshment?
No, thank you. We're right the way we are. I'll have something cold. Something soft. Anything.
Henry, bring in a pitcher of lemonade. I'll have one, too.
Yes, sir. Oh, I didn't know it was possible to grow this species locally.
Oh, you like flowers?
I do.
Well, Mr. Tibbs, do you know anything about orchids?
Well, not very much, but I do like them.
Well, let me show you. Endicott's Park. What do you think?
It's beautiful. It's breathtaking.
Have you a favorite, Mr. Tibbs?
Well, I am partial to any of the epiphytics.
Why, isn't that remarkable? That of all the orchids in this place, you should prefer the epiphytics. I wonder if you know why.
Maybe it would be helpful if you'd tell me.
Because, like the Negra, they need care and feeding and cultivating. And that takes time. That's something you can't make some people understand. That's something Mr. Colbert didn't realize.
Is this what the epiphytics root in?
My point. They thrive on it. Take it away from them, they do poorly.
What do you call this material?
That's osmundon, fern root.
Well, we don't want to take any more of your time, Mr. Endicott.
Why'd you two come here?
To ask you about Mr. Colbert.
Let me understand this. You two came here to question me?
Well, your attitudes, Mr. Endicott, your points of view are a matter of record. Some people, well, let us say the people who work for Mr. Colbert might reasonably regard you as the person least likely to mourn his passing. We were just trying to clarify some of the evidence. Was Mr. Colbert ever in this greenhouse, say last night about midnight?
Gillespie?
Yeah.
You saw it.
I saw it.
Well, what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
I'll remember that. There was a time when I could have had you shot.
You better damn well clear out, and I mean fast. What about that big speech you gave me this morning? I didn't know you were going to slap any white man, least of all Endicott. All right, give me another day. 2 days, I'm close. I can pull that fat cat down. I can bring him right off this hill.
Oh, boy. Man, you're just like the rest of us. Ain't you?
Where you think you going?
I'm just trying to get home. That's my son. You need to get back in the house or I will ruin your night. You gotta talk to my moms like that.
You guys supposed to be somewhere?
These are artists.
Rap is not an art.
You cannot come down here and harass my clients because of what they look like.
Things gonna be different from here on out.
Listen, to be honest with you, I don't know anything about hip-hop, but I know that you're special.
Speak a little truth and people lose their mind.
This isn't the Crips and Bloods. This is a threat from the federal government.
They try to tell us what we can't play. This ain't WA. Yo, Dre. What up? I got something to say. I'm coming straight out of Compton.
A great fighter once said, "It ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward."
See this guy here? That's the toughest opponent you're ever going to have to face. I believe that's true in the ring, and I think that's true in life. Now show me something.
protect you because you are my son. And a son always protects a father. My man, you remember me? You are my family. Are you ready to fight? Victory?
Yes, sir!
Victory?
Yes, sir!
Seize.
Yes, sir!
Person to have discovered this.
If you don't speak for them, who will?
I found a disease that no one has ever seen. Repetitive head trauma chokes the brain.
Going to war with a corporation that owns a day of the week.
No proof was presented today because there simply isn't any.
They have to listen to us. This is bigger than they are.
You have no idea how bad this could get.
I have to keep going.
They want you to say you made it all up.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Oscars. A night full of glamour, tears, and with some luck, a tolerable joke or two.
Having some of the Academy over for dinner. Care to join me?
But aside from all the glitz and glam, this year's 87th Academy Awards is poised to be remembered as the worst year for diversity at the Oscars since 1998.
This is as good as it gets.
Here's some info you should know. Winners and nominees of the prestigious award are determined by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
So I want to thank the Academy.
To the Academy. The Academy for this, all 6,000 members.
These members, each representing various categories and voting for the respective nominees in their field. Actors voting for actors, directors for directors, and so forth. The Academy has garnered a reputation for being a body of mostly white, mostly male, and mostly old voters who mostly support nominations for certain types of films. Films focused on primarily white male protagonists. And while most of these films absolutely have social and cultural merit, they're only telling limited types of stories from limited perspectives. In the 87 years since the Academy Awards were established, few African Americans have taken home the Oscar.
We have, 4 black nominees tonight. So great. It's kind of like the Deaf Oscar Jam tonight.
Of 2,947 of the Oscars awarded, 31 have gone to black winners. For the Best Actor category, only 7% of the winners have been black men. This includes Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, and Forrest Whitaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Denzel's win marked nearly 40 years since a black man was last awarded the Oscar.
40 years I've been chasing Sidney. They finally give it to me. What they do? They give it to him the same night. I'll always be chasing you, Sidney. I'll always be following in your footsteps. There's nothing I would rather do, so.
Halle Berry's win for her performance in 2002's Monsters Ball marked the first, and so far only, black woman to have ever won the Best Actress award.
So much bigger than me. This moment is for every nameless, faceless woman of color that now has a chance because his door tonight has been opened.
Many of the performances that did score Oscar wins for actors of color were for portraying roles that fulfilled stereotypes limited to working class and often abused characters, primarily told through the lens of white directors and filmmakers.
I'd like to write something from the point of view of the help.
We, as black people, have been celebrated more for when we are subservient, when we are not being leaders or kings or being in the center of our own narrative driving it forward.
Beyond the acting-based categories, diversity is lacking from the list of directors, cinematographers, and Best Picture winners, too. No black person has ever won Best Director, despite fans and critics who had high hopes for Ava DuVernay and her breakout directorial work on Selma.
Selma shouldn't have been the only hope for places of color in this kind of celebration.
The film was only nominated for 2 awards this year, Best Picture and Original Song. In 2014, viewership for the Oscar ceremony clocked in at 43 million, making the awards show a platform with the potential to massively influence the way we view culture. and impact the way we view each other. Omitting Black men and women depicted in roles of leadership and success.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
Omitting Black men and women depicted as vulnerable and complex, three-dimensional characters.
They have a movie with, characters in them instead of stereotypes wrapped in Christian dogma.
Omitting Black narrators telling their own stories in the year of Black Lives Matter matters.
Jada obviously is well publicized what she said about the Oscars.
Absolutely.
What would it take for you guys to go to the Oscars now? If they say to you, "Will next year host it," would you go?
Right. To me, it's so far not about me.
Yeah.
It's not about us going to a show or not. For me, this is a much bigger social issue. I'm recognizing a pattern of the narrowing of the imagery, the narrowing of tolerance in America. So the last pretty much 18 months that I've been watching the news and experiencing the things that are going on in my country, my concern is that Hollywood is reflecting a regressive trend. Hollywood is supposed to lead. Hollywood is supposed to be the most diverse and the most inclusive. All of the voices of so many different types of people and so many different stories. And I think that it's an absolute necessity that Hollywood lead. And I'm just concerned that I'm seeing Hollywood slipping and making a slide that is a social and political slide that's happening throughout the country.
And now you have been very vocal about roles for African Americans. If there aren't any, you can't get nominated. And that seems to be a big issue this year. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are there's a difference between opportunity and talent. And you have to realize if there's no one in power who is of color, who has the yay or the nay vote, then you're not going to have the films out there to be nominated on to begin with. That's the problem. The problem is that there just aren't enough films. And the films that are out there that are being greenlit, no one has the imagination to see these roles any differently. Why does the male lead have to always be white? Why does a female lead always have to be a Caucasian woman? You tell me. But you know what? It's up to us to change it and step up to the plate.
Now, is boycotting the answer for the Oscars though this year, Jada Pinkett style?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I'm a kind of revolutionary, but I think it's more important to boycott the system itself. That when you plop down money to see a film, that you have to be more demonstrative about what you want to see. We do it on TV all the time. That's why shows either stay on the air or they go. So it's the same thing with movies.
Lastly, should Chris Rock pull out or should he stay strong and go up on stage?
I kind of want him to stay, man. I want to hear what he says. I think that his power in staying and his voice could make such a difference.
What are your thoughts on the Oscar controversy?
Oh, man.
First, okay, specific.
First of all, it's called the Oscars.
Do you
it's
think
named after a white guy. It's not like it's the Jamals,
Do you think Chris Rock should still be hosting?
I think apparently if he does host, he should come out in whiteface so he belongs there. No, because, the thing is, I think he's fine hosting because he's the perfect guy. He's going to do color commentary. And I mean that like in color commentary. I think Rock is going to be fine at coming out and just seeing. They're giving him ammunition. He's just going to light it up. I mean, he's great every year. He's a professional. And, look, it's not the first time this has happened.
Right.
It's every year is pretty much a whiteout. One year, I think with us, we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. We're going to make more movies. This invigorates black people.
I see myself as an actor. No matter what is going on in the business, I will find a way to practice my art. And all of the actors of color that I know don't place any limitations on themselves either. So regardless of what is going on with the Academy, regardless what is going on in Hollywood, they will find a way to be excellent. We always have and we always will.
For performance by an actor in a supporting role, the nominees are Christian Bale in The Big Short.
This year's Oscars, for me, wasn't the biggest of shocks. For me, I look at this as a shot in the arm to the Oscar Society. It represented the fact that there's been a lot of talk about change, but there hasn't really been much, and we've got a long way to go. We need to make sure that we can stand on our own 2 feet as a filmmaking community before we start worrying about, is someone else going to include us into their club? Because that burden of inclusion is not on us. We don't have any burden of inclusion. They have a burden of acceptance. They're the 1% of the 1% in filmmaking, that's fine. But we are the 99% of the rest of the filmmaking world. I think we have a better shot at making this better. Our voices need to be heard through active support of each other. To build the film community and to build black voices in the film community, we need to educate, support, we need to, encourage, and we need to continue to stay together no matter what happens. We need to work together to make this better. The burden's on them. Acceptance. That's what they have to do. They have to accept that we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're just as talented. We have just as much experience. We have the same amount of skill, if not more. What happened at the Oscars? I don't know why people are surprised. It's been happening since the beginning of the Oscars. We've been pacified here and there with a shot here and a shot there. Yay! But overall, have we ever really been accepted? This was just another shot in the arm. Maybe they'll wake up one day. But until then, are you going to stop making film because the 1% don't want you? Because there's 99% of other people out here who do. I care about making great film. They don't have to include me in your group. But you're going to have to accept that I'm here, we're all here, we ain't going anywhere. That's on you. That's on Hollywood. If they can't accept us, then stay behind your walls and y'all keep taking your Oscars. We're going to keep making great film for other people.
My thoughts about the Oscars and the lack of diversity, I'm not surprised, first and foremost. We've been on a trend where there's been a lack of diversity, and the Oscars have, consistently been consistent in their awards and who they give them to. So I'm not surprised with it. The African American community feel like we have to depend on that to validate our exceptional strides that we make within the film industry. That's the surprising part for me. Inclusion and diversity in the film industry is is critical, especially when we talk about building racial gaps and change what people see, how they perceive you. Sometimes the only time they have a view is through film. And so that inclusion is very critical. And I think that we are included, but I think that sometimes the roles that we are included in aren't best fit for us. And I think that sometimes some of the films themselves that could be distributed and put out, they get blackballed and pushed up under the rug. And so those are films that are more representative of who we are as a group. And that's a shame. Steps that Hollywood and the Academy can take before changes can occur within the film industry. Interesting. One of the steps that they can take is allowing more stories that are relevant to the Black experience, and not putting shade on those stories that are. For instance, the movie Egypt. We know that the movie has, or should have, an all-Black cast. They're producing the movie with an all-white cast, which is insulting. And it's those type of things. Giving funding for movies like Nat Turner. That story needs to be told. That's a part of African American or Black history. And we need to hear these kind of stories. These type of stories need to be shared. And so the powers that be try to block and blackball. So the system needs to be overhauled altogether in order for our stories to be told. And even more so, we need to stop catering. We can tell our stories. We have everything that we need, that we can tell our stories. We don't have to cater as African Americans. One of the things that we can do is by telling our stories within our communities, by sharing our art within our communities. One of the things that we'll find, and a good example is with the hip hop phenomenon. You know, hip hop spawned in the Black community, and it snowballed to where other groups started getting involved. But we didn't solicit other groups. We just did our art naturally, and other groups started tapping in. They wanted to know, hey, what's going on over here? And right now you have a larger white audience base listening to hip hop, or at least just as large as African Americans or Black. So I think that when it comes to art in the film industry, we need to tell our stories within our communities. We have the economic power to do that. Let's do that. And then let that filter out instead of trying to cater and reach out to others that, quite frankly, have shown that they don't want to include us. I think that the message sent by the Oscars is both, that there's a blip and the system can be changed, but also that there is regression. And I say that because there's a blip, the system can change, but you have to get rid of the players who are involved right now and get a whole new group in there. So that's the blip, but you replace them with new eyes, new ears, new vision. The blip can change. As far as the regression, we've been in a system in this country, specifically with the film industry, where 2 steps forward are taken and 5 steps back are taken. I never was so insulted when Halle Berry and Denzel Washington got the Oscar for the roles that they played in Monsters Ball, Halle Berry, and Training Day for Denzel Washington. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, all the beautiful roles that they played, these are 2 extraordinary actors and actresses, 2 of the best in the game. You give them Oscars for this. I think that said it all right there. And although I'm sure that they were grateful and thankful to get the Oscar,
God is good. God is great.
Come on.
God is great.
Why didn't Denzel get it for Malcolm X? Why didn't Halle get it for playing Dorothy Dandridge or Losing Isaiah? Or, you know, there are so many great films that they made, but you give it for Training Day and Monsters Ball. I mean, come on. So yeah, there's regression, but there can be change. We just need a whole new group of people. It's like get a whole new group, a set of eyes, vision. Let all of our stories be told the way they should be told, truthfully.
To me, diversity in film means that you allow people to tell a story in the most truthful way possible, meaning that you will allow them to tell the story through their perspective. Too many times I see stories that are told in Hollywood or you know, in the movies, and the stories aren't truthful, they're not accurate, because people aren't telling the story from an actual real perspective. They're telling it from their perspective, or what you want their perspective to be. When you have diversity in film and inclusion of that, that allows you to liberate people by telling the story from their perspective versus your own. You have a plethora of different stories that can be told, where people aren't going to be just necessarily slaves or servants or butlers or secretaries. You have people that are kings, queens, prestigious inventors, lawyers, attorneys, doctors, making groundbreaking discoveries, scientists, musicians. But when you limit people to one perspective, then you make the whole culture based on that one perspective. And when you have the ability to distribute this to the masses, you have people that are incorrectly categorized, people that are judged incorrectly, people that are portrayed incorrectly. And then you have stereotypical behaviors as a result. People think that certain people of certain ethnicities speak a certain kind of way, act a certain kind of way, and that's not a true indication of who they are as a people. Maybe that's one aspect of what you've seen in your area, but it doesn't indicate that that's everyone. Then it's not a blanket for everyone to be underneath that this is how certain people act. I also feel that when you need diversity in film is in the recognition area. There's a lot of really great works that are being done, but because they don't necessarily push a certain agenda or aren't brought about a certain way, they're not recognized. Despite the fact that globally they're well received, globally they're well recognized, with outstanding performances, talented ensemble of cast, they're not given any recognition. So I would challenge everyone to go forth and break the mold. Be more than what people tell you you are. Be more than what people limit you to be. Because if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. When people try to put you inside of a box, break away from the box. Because your story is just as important as anyone else's story, and your recognition is just as important as anyone else's recognition. We put in the same amount of time, we put in the same amount of hours, we break down the same scripts, we put in the same long nights, days on set. So we deserve the same recognition. And that goes for anyone. Diversity is for everyone. Diversity is everyone's hero. So we need to usher in a new age where people can be recognized for their accomplishments instead of brushed off to the side. If you looked on TV and all you saw was everyone else's story being told and not yours, it would bother you.
As an undergrad, I had the opportunity to host Youngstown State University's first ever diversity conference. And I convinced our university president to secure Coretta Scott King as the keynote speaker. I had the chance to sit down and have lunch and a chat with Mrs. King. And during that time, diversity was just becoming the buzzword of the century. So this is what Mrs. King had to say about diversity. She said, "We like to think of diversity as just this romantic mixing of colors. But really, it's more than just that. It's also a real sharing of power and responsibility." So while I am concerned about the lack of inclusion and diversity with this year's Oscar nominations, I am also just as concerned about the fact that there are no people of color and women at those decision-making tables. We should be there. If Hillary Clinton in her first presidential bid was able to put 18 million cracks in our nation's highest glass ceiling, we as women and people of color should be able to do the same thing in Hollywood, because Hollywood has kept us out in a multitude of ways, and it's time for us to break through that glass ceiling in a major way. And you see these pumps right here? They are ready. I am ready to break through some doors, knock down some walls, and most certainly break through some glass ceilings. It is time.
Let the man
Got this. Look, who are you to throw me out?
Well, I think I'm head of this house.
The African American film community that I'm familiar with has shown a lot of different genres of film. I've seen a lot of horror films. I've seen action and kung fu movies from African American filmmakers in Dayton, Columbus, and Cincinnati. I'm impressed with the difference and the quality of these films. Hollywood, unfortunately, typecasts all filmmakers as, you know, for gang movies or drug dealing or other stuff like that. I don't feel that the community is taken serious in Hollywood, or so many actors would not be left out of Oscars. A lot of people have earned their roles, and because they have the talent. Who is on the Academy that decides who gains what? It's time for a change, and it's time for a more diverse Academy to recognize all filmmakers of all color and notice that there's something special to offer besides what Hollywood is typecasting you.
From the inside out, like pouring wet concrete.
On today's episode of Real Cleveland, we are talking to Tina Hobbs and Michael Berry about a new film coming out called Banger. This film is about it's a local film, written, produced, directed locally here in Cleveland. Tina Hobbs, could you tell me in a nutshell what we can expect about this local film?
Oh my goodness, you can expect just a sea of local talent, the best of the best in Cleveland. The movie, it has every element that you could possibly want in a film. There's thrills and chills and hang on to the edge of your seat and a little bit of whodunit, like everything that you would ever want in a film.
I'm sure people ask you this all the time, but as a producer and a casting director here in Cleveland, do you see a lot of films coming through here, and do you see a lot of talent in sort of an underdog city, Cleveland?
It is, and we have so much potential here in Cleveland. It's a very green industry, but the talent that we see, like when we had our auditions and the talent that came out, oh my goodness, it is phenomenal. So yes, there's a lot of talent here in Cleveland. We're growing, we're moving in the right direction, and I think you will see huge, huge things coming out of Cleveland, Ohio.
So Michael, you are the writer. Could you tell me, and you have written many other scripts in the past.
I have.
Tell me a little bit about this film and how it's different from some of the other writing you've done.
Well, being a writer, I knew that I wanted to write big movies, and I knew that I didn't want to stay on a local scale, so I had to write the type of content that would get noticed nationally or regionally, and Banger was something I felt I could have a huger demographic for age, color, sex, and that everybody would appreciate this movie, so I had to write it that way. And I think Bangers will be the movie that'll put me on a different level and take me out of the local scene. At least that's my goal. That's what's gonna happen.
Could you give me a brief synopsis of what Banger is about?
Banger is a story of power and control. You have the Mafia, the Leone crime family, you have the Skulls MC, and you have 12 Block, which are 3 gangs jockeying for position of control of the city of Cleveland's meth trade. And they kill a Haitian immigrant named Ishmael, and his mother basically conjures up a spell to bring him back from the dead to exact revenge.
Wow. So let me ask you, how did you come up with this idea? Is it at all based on your experiences, on anything that is real?
No, I just, I let my imagination just go where it will, and it just comes out in the pen, and I just go with it.
Who are your influences? Do you read a lot? Is there something that you, anyone that's a go-to, or any films that you tend to watch a lot? Any other writers or directors?
Well, to be honest, my influence are usually local or regional people. Like right now, if I had to be honest, my influence is Philly Wheaton. Just a guy like myself who's out here trying to make it happen, that's going to get it. So I draw, strength from him. But as far as like national, I like everybody, but I don't really cling to national people. They've made it. I cling to people like me and I pull that energy that they give off to pull me along with them. So that's right now. That's who I'm getting my energy from. So right now we in the casting process for Banger. We just trying to get our talent together for the movie. I'm looking for the best of the best. I'm looking for people who can act and make it where it doesn't seem like acting, just seems like being. So I need people who can just get into the character and pull out what they need to pull out and convey that message to the audience.
Banger is a feature film that's written by Mike Berry, and I get to produce it and also cast for it. So I'm very, very excited. We will start shooting it in May of 2015, and it's going to be the biggest independent film of the 2015.
Well, I've asked a bunch of friends about Skip Thomas, and they all recommended working for him, so that's one of the reasons I'm here.
Banger should be a banger. I am actually pretty excited in here, and I'm gonna be mad if I don't get casted.
When I heard the script, I was very intrigued. I think this is gonna be the blockbuster of 2015.
Skip Thomas is the man putting together another classic film.
Yes, this is so cool and so interesting.
I think it sounds awesome. I think it sounds like a really cool thriller, so I hope to be part of it.
From what I've seen, what I read, it's going to be good. I just really hope I can be a part of it.
Skip Thomas Productions are amazing productions, great film. It's a good guy, and I really hope I get to work with him on this one.
I hope I get to kick some ass in the Banger movie.
I am so fortunate to be a casting director in Cleveland because we have so much talent in Cleveland. And yes, we've seen probably, we had a ton of people come through, and we found some really good talent.
It's gonna be big things, you know, gonna see some familiar faces on the screen. Skip Thomas coming through.
They call me Circus, but I ain't here for your entertainment. They call me hip hop. I and I alone say what's shake and what don't.
My brothers, my brothers. Good day for a drug deal, wouldn't you say?
Great people. Great people. Salt of the earth. Decent, hardworking, humble.
You know, everybody looked up to Roger Ormsby. Whatever he told the young guys to do, that's what they did. So it was, you know, he taught them how to be respectful because some of them ain't know nothing about respect. So he was real nice. He was real sweet.
Originating base Cincinnati, 1948.
What happened to Roger Owensby?
Officers need assistance at Sam's Seymour near Eagle.
I know Cincinnati had problems. I had a long talk with my youngest son and Roger. I said, look, it's different circumstances being in the military and being home. You need to watch yourself.
What is happening in the city of Cincinnati? Why is it that every time we turn on the news, the police officer's killing another young black man?
Give me your hands, but he couldn't.
It's a shame that he died.
One of them got his hand, and they were just still beating him.
I've lost my job.
I just see George like this, you know what I'm saying?
I have post-traumatic stress disorder.
Give me your fucking arm, just give me your fucking arm.
There was no reason for Roger Owensby to die that night.
My understanding of the prosecution, of how the family was treated, the preparation that went into the case from the Hamilton County prosecutor's point of view, it was shameful.
Where were the black generals and colonels who live here, who are retired? They have status in white America. Did they join Mr. Owens?
So we shouldn't be surprised that the courts treat the police differently than they treat us.
Is it because Hamilton County is one of the biggest donors to the Republican Party and you don't want to prosecute police officers because an election's coming up?
The prosecutor, in fact, is an ex-police officer who routinely works closely with this police department. Can he professionally, fairly, and impartially prosecute the case? I'm not sure that he can.
People don't believe that that really happens. You know, the cover-ups, the lying, those are the things you see in movies.
The federal judge believed that there would be a major riot in the city if we proceeded with this trial.
They, in fact, have publicly accused him of being greedy. of using his son's passing to enrich himself. And nobody from the black middle class, upper classes says, how dare you? Roger Owensby's family were victims, black victims, but we have allowed him, his spirit, his presence on this earth to be equated with something less than.
How are you feeling today, Mr. Thompson?
Feeling? I don't feel anything.
Do you know where you are or how you got here?
All I know is this room. Every day, every night, this room. Nothing but this room.
And how does that make you feel?
Are you serious?
Have you lost your faith, Mr. Thompson?
Faith? Faith? What has faith ever given me?
Hope. Mr. Thompson, hope. I'll leave you with this medication, and I'll come back to check on your progress.
Progress? There is no progress! There's no fucking progress, man! I'll let you leave. You know that, right? Who are you? Who are they? I think you know the answer to both of those questions. What do you want from me? I mean, why are you here? I am here to help you get out of here. And how was that supposed to happen? I mean, where would I go? In order for you to leave here, you must see the truth, Mr. Thompson. The truth. The truth. See the truth. All right? All right. All right, we good. Relax. We've been out here for what, 3 hours? We ain't seen nobody yet. Be cool. Be cool. Look, I got people in the area, all right? We can go there, rest up, come back tomorrow, fix the car, and then we can be on our merry way, all right? Don't stress it. We good?
Damn. And just when I was starting to get it, why can't he just give me a normal piece of the share of the will like everybody else?
Nothing personal. At least not with me.
Jack, haven't you been listening to the preacher? I mean, just when I thought I was coming back to God again, I mean, you come to me with this holier than thou attitude. Man, just because, you know, I'm going through a rough time doesn't mean that I've sinned against God.
And I tell you that if you hurt my daughter, I would be here to see that you get what you deserve.
Well, I don't know what to say about your situation, but we've ran out of time.
You don't have to say anything.
Would you like to know what my decision is?
I already know what your decision is. The attitude and the demeanor that you have had towards me this entire time says it all. It tells me exactly what your decision is.
Now hold on a minute.
I know you're tired of hearing me say sorry over and over and over again. But just hear me out this time.
No!
A CPD representative said that 17-year-old Eric Thomas of Shaker Heights was shot after he refused to comply with officers' commands to drop a bag thought to contain weapons.
Fit for the king, I dream.
Like, I hear what you're saying, but this street life is all I know. You know, you wouldn't understand because you're not built for this life.
Why am I not surprised? You know, this is becoming a habit with you, young buck. Now, I don't know what needs to happen to you, but this needs to stop.
I didn't have my gun with me, right?
Why wouldn't you have your gun with you if you're going to intimidate someone?
All right, I'll go back in and take care of everything.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You're going to go and you're going to sit in your car and you're going to wait for us to get there and take care of this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
I love my city. I love my city. Forget wherever they from. We OHIO. Stay in aviators. No wonder we fly. I love my city. I love my city. The heart of the nation. Been here since day one. Forget wherever they from. We OHIO. 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 there cutting heads on the stoop, getting loot soon as I learn to lace up a shoe. What it do? OH, what it do? I am not me without you. One time for the people showing love on the east side. Every time I come through, gourmet shoes, you can't walk in, put a sock in it. On the rise, y'all better put stock in them. No bull, the mic, I'm a threat with it. Y'all better double trace, got pippin'. People who ain't from here, come here. Ask why it's so cold here. Oh, you ain't know Holly Berry was born here, yeah. Home of the coldest. I had to bring home the coldest. Left the whole city frozen. At my wedding, the mayor slid in some loafers. Whether in a Testarossa or just hopped off that coda. Tell them other boys don't approach us. We forever O-H-I-O. 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 O-H-I-O.
The birthplace of the aviator. We the new Wright brothers and some aviators. I say O-State finna be the Drakes. Hey, you can thank me later, hey, you can thank me now. We rode out a whole tide of elephants. I guess Crimson and Scarlet should never mix. Met my lady at a party on 11th, got her 10 at a show. Been on cloud 9 ever since. She the color says baby from the Shaker Height. Baby blue, school of roses, time to make it right. And blue, I'm finna make your mama happy. Been a long time coming since my mama had me. Started from the top when we tried to win. Going to the bottom, Billboard said to holla at me. The next kid is Cuddy, don't ignore. Shout out to Eastland and go for 04. Southfield, I miss Molly, oh Lord. I love my city, as long as the Lord know it. We already won, touchdown and we only need the one, but we going for it. Trace, you know, I never land. I'm trying to rock it with the best band in the land. Jalen, tell Urban to call it in. Trying to see Brutus do the Carlton.
Stay in aviators. No wonder we fly. I love my city. I love my city. The heart of the nation. Been here since day one. Forget wherever they from. We O-H-I-O. 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 O-H.